All right, welcome back. Where were we up to? Carcar City. So we'd stopped there at the Eco Farm Resorts and that was it. I don't know if I spoke about this already. Basically what I'm doing was a lap of the whole island of Cebu, but I had no real plan. So the plan, essentially with no plan, was that I would wake up each morning and kind of look on the map on Google Maps and just sort of go, how far is going to be 2 or 3 hours of riding down the island or back up the island, depending on wherever I was. Look for about 2 or 3 hours worth of riding on the map and then basically zoom in on that part of the map, press the hotels button, find a relatively cheap hotel in that area. Generally, I was targeting stuff between sort of 25 to 50 Australian dollars, sometimes a little more if I had to, but generally under 50 Australian dollars. I found that if you do it within 24 hours, you ended up finding places that had really good discounts because they weren't going to get anyone in there anyway. So they put these huge discounts on just to get someone in, and they make a little bit of money for something they wouldn't have made any money for anyway. So very commonly I was finding these like little resorts and places that might have been $200 or $300 a night normally, and I was getting them for $30 to $50 a night normally at 60-70% off. It didn't always work that way, and so sometimes I'd end up in places that were not quite as amazing. But they were all still fine, and every so often there was none which were cheap like that, and so there was once or twice where I ended up staying in a more expensive place. I still got them at discounted, but they were more expensive than what I normally would have paid. So anyway, Carcar City. So from there, the other thing that I also do is I'd look, once I found a place where I was going to stay, I'd then look between the two and see what's there. Was there waterfalls or beaches or interesting, like churches and things like that I might want to go and look at. And so then I'd generally either ride to the new place, check in if I was going to be able to check in already, and then go back to wherever that place was and explore. Or if I got up early and I wasn't going to be able to check in soon enough, I'd ride down, have a look at whatever it was, and then ride back, grab my stuff, check out, and then ride back to the new hotel. So often, most days I sort of backwards and forwards a little bit. Anyway, it's fine. So this day I left there, I was going to ride down to Dalaguete, I think it is, Dalaguete. I keep thinking Dumaguete every time I think of the place, but I think it's Dalaguete. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong on the way that I'm saying it, I'm probably butchering the name, but it's, every time I read it, I think Dumaguete, which isn't there, obviously, but it is a place where a lot of expats go and stay over in Negros, so it stuck in my head because I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube about it. Anyway, Dalaguete, that's where I was riding to. But in between there, I found a place called the Monastery of the Holy Eucharist, I think it was. Other people called it Mama Mary, or the Monastery of Mama Mary, or something like that. Yeah, so I think from what I'd read about it, or the little bit that I read at the time, it's the sort of place where a lot of Catholics would go on sort of almost like a pilgrimage to go there. It was amazing. The place is just beautiful and better than just about anywhere else I've been to look out for that sort of these church type arrangements in the Philippines. The gardens are beautiful, the buildings are beautiful. They're still in the process of building it. You could spend a whole day there, I think, quite easily. It is at the top of a big hill, so you get really nice views as well, which was beautiful. At that time when I was there, which was in April of 2024, there was a heat wave, an unusual, maybe once in I don't know how long, maybe once every 20 years or once in 100 years, I'm not sure, but it was an unusual heat wave for the Philippines, and most of the schools had been closed down because of it. From what I'd heard, there was kids passing out in schools that didn't have air conditioning because it was just so hot. And that day, oh my gosh, it was brutal. That was probably one of the hottest days that I was there. When you've got an oven and you open the oven up and all that hot air comes out, that's what the air felt like that day. It was so hot, oh my gosh, it was hot. It was so hot that when I was riding, it felt like that the whole time. But whenever you went under a tree, in that I'm under the tree, then I'm back out again. It felt like it dropped by 20 degrees or 25 degrees in that split second. It was just the hottest I've ever been anywhere, really. It was so hot, actually, that in Australia or in Melbourne, we do this thing with the news where they're saying, oh, the weather today is going to be 12 degrees, but with the wind chill factor, it's going to be 8. It takes into account the actual degrees is 12, but it's going to feel colder than that because of the wind. They were doing something similar, but the opposite way, which they were calling the heat index or something, I think it was. And I might be wrong on the figures, but I feel like that day they had said it was going to be like 46 degrees with a heat index at 58 or something like that. It was bonkers. Like, it was just crazy hot. Anyway, the point that I'm getting to is you ride up this big hill and there's parking spots and people are obviously like, come in and park here, come here and park here. And it's, I don't know, 15 or 20 pesos to park there or something like that. And then you walk the rest of the way up. I turned into the first one of those because I'm an idiot and I didn't think to ride all the way up to the top and just see where I can park and then ride back down and go into the closest one. I just went into the first one, which is fine. It just meant I had a bit of a walk, but it wasn't a crazy walk. It might have been, I don't know, maybe a kilometre or 500 metres. It wasn't far, but it was uphill and really hot, like really hot. So I was dripping sweat and I was struggling, and I drank about 400 litres of water that day. And walking around there, I was burning. It's not sun like in Australia. In the sun in Australia, you go outside some days and you just burn in 10 minutes. It's not like that there, but I was still burning. It had been hot enough for long enough that I was getting burnt, and I'm stuck in the open. And so by the time I'd got up to the actual monastery, it was a case of, I'm going to take photos because it was beautiful. I'm going to have a look around because it really was beautiful, but try and keep in the shade as much as I could, and just had a look around. Yeah, you're seeing the photos anyway. It's beautiful. So from there, I rode back to Carcar City to grab my stuff and check out from the hotel, and pretty much just got there, checked out, turned around and headed off down to Dalaguete. Now at Dalaguete, I was staying at a place called Cebu Mansion, which was kind of up on the hill, just sort of outside of Dalaguete. So you came into the town, coming south, and then you went west, sort of away from the coast into the inland and up the mountain there. And it's sort of situated halfway up the mountain with looking out over Dalaguete and out over the ocean there. It was good. It was really nice. The place was a nice little pool, and I was the only person staying there. I think they have maybe six or 7 rooms that you can stay in, but I was the only one there that day. So I had the whole place to myself, which was nice. The staff were excellent. They basically told me, there's a couple of places you can go and eat in town, like cafes and things like that. So I ended up going down into the town later that night or that afternoon, I should say, to have dinner, and I had a walk around. They've got like a nice sort of seawall area. I really liked Dalaguete. It was probably my favourite sort of just town. It was like, it's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too far from a big city if you wanted to get to, say, Cebu, or a place where you could fly out to other places easily. It's if you're ever thinking about moving to the Philippines, that would be an awesome place to live, I reckon. It was big enough that you could get everything you kind of want without being so big that it has Jollibees and McDonald's and stuff like that all through it. Small enough that it probably feels like a small town, and was nice. It had like a tennis court and a nice sort of seawall area that you could walk across, and they had street food and stuff set up at night time there, and a nice gardens, and it was a nice town. I liked it. A couple of nice cafes and stuff. I think the one I went to was called Bar Co. You can see that I had chicken adobo there, which was pretty tasty. And yeah, just sort of had a walk around the town, and it was nice. I liked it. It's a good place. I really quite liked the vibe there. It felt good. After that, I was riding back up to the hotel, and kind of just thought, it's becoming sunset soon. I'm going to ride further up the hill and see where that goes. So I just sort of rode, I don't know, maybe another 5 or 10 minutes up the hill, and ended up, there's like these huge big gullies and like beautiful mountains, and it was really nice views out over the ocean and everything from up there. It was quite pretty up there. It was really nice. And then back to the hotel, where I was speaking to the staff there and basically saying what time's the pool open to. And they said, well, you're the only customer here, and there's only the girl who worked behind the counter, and also one sort of maintenance guy that was working there, and she said the two of them would be gone by sort of 10 p.m, I think it was. They said if I wanted to leave and go out, I could go out and come back still, but there'd be no one else there. It'd just be me, basically. So if I wanted to stay in the pool all night, I could stay in the pool all night, or I can do whatever I want, pretty much, as long as I'm not doing anything dodgy. But yeah, so I kind of sat in the pool and chilled out for a bit and watched the sunset, and yeah, went back to my room. The room was pretty basic, but it's good. It was fine. The aircon was cold, the water pressure was okay, and it was a nice place. I enjoyed it. I do wake up very early when I'm in the Philippines. Well, in general, I wake up when the sun comes up. So as soon as my room starts getting light, I tend to wake up. So there, they didn't have blackout curtains, which is fine. It just meant that 5 o'clock or whatever time it was when the sun starts to light up the sky, my room started to light up and I woke up, which worked out well because I went out and sat on their sort of terrace area, I guess you'd call it, next to the pool, which overlooked out over the whole of Dalaguete and out over the ocean and that, and watched the sunrise, which was beautiful. You can see some photos of it there, and planned my day from there as where I was going to go next. All right. Hi. Editing Sean from the future here. You can see right there, just editing away. So you're watching this video right now, and I have been editing it and realized that actually I've got way too much for one video. So I'm splitting it in half, you can probably see. But it means I need to do a quick end here. So thanks for watching. The second half of this one will be coming out next week, and I will have it all done then. But in the meantime, thank you for this one. If you have been to Carcar City or any of the places I've been to already, make a comment. Tell me about it. I'd like to hear what your thoughts were about the places. If you've been to or live in Dalaguete, tell me about that, because honestly, I really think that place looks awesome, and it's the sort of place where I'd be happy to live eventually. One day, maybe. Maybe not, we'll see, but it's a cool place. I should stop spinning around and making you dizzy, sorry. Anyway, trying to make this short. I'm not really doing a good job. Like, subscribe, have an awesome day. Thanks for watching. Come back next week for the second half, which you'll see me in exactly the same clothes because it's literally all the same video that I made way too long. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. See you then. Bye.